Hey, house guests. I'm Andrea Chu.
And I'm David Belleville.
And welcome to the first ever episode of 10 Tampa Bay's Big Brother talk show.
We are so excited to be doing this and talking about a show that we love, and we hope that you love it too. We have so much to talk about.
Yeah, basically, we spent so much of our workday discussing Big Brother anyway, so we figured we would record it and share it with everyone to see if there are any hot takes. We tend to disagree on a lot of people.
A lot.
So I think it'll be interesting.
It's going to be a great discussion. We're happy that you're joining us. And again, there's quite a lot of ground to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Where should we start?
Yeah, so we're a couple weeks into the season, but I think things are just like really starting to ramp up. So I feel like this is actually a good time to get started. So I guess for this first episode, we'll just kind of recap what's gotten us to where we are so far. And then we can then go on with like looking ahead, what we think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the multiverse theme.
Okay.
We got Big Brother 25, BB 25, this amazing like anniversary season. What do we think of the theme?
Well, it's obviously a big season, a quarter century of seasons, essentially.
Insane.
And they had an opportunity here to really go all out with the theme. And to their credit, they've really leaned heavily on this theme this year. I'm not entirely a huge fan of it, but it's pretty on brand with Big Brother. It's over the top, it's cheesy, and it's infiltrated a lot of the game. I just thought that with it being the 25th season, that it could have been a little bit better. I don't know.
I love how Big Brother leans into being like cheesy or like kind of camp. It's kind of cheesy and we love it. We're just rocking with it. I like that aspect, and I like that they did not do just a like summer vacation theme, because I think there's been a lot of different iterations of we're on vacation in the summer. However, I think that the multiverse is a little disjointed. We have the scary verse, we have the humiliverse, we have the scramble verse. Was comic verse.
Yes.
Comic makes sense, BB comics, sure. Everything else, I'm like, where did this come from?
So random. It is so random. It's like they had the multiverse theme in of itself could have been really cool, but you're right. They just pulled in all of these random elements and made up random words that it could have been more directly tied to previous seasons, previous moments. And it seemed like that's how this theme was going to play out when they brought in some BB legends in the very first episode. But then it's like it went off the rails from there.
Off the rails entirely. Like I thought they're going to do the kind of a throwback thing, touch on themes from past seasons. And I'm like, we just got like the ugliest house of all time, I have to say. It's usually a little like crazy in there. I think that's intentional. But the different themes, the different colors, that one room, I think it's like the
Scaryverse room?
Well, that's terrifying.
That is like a have-not room.
Yeah. No, but the one, I don't even know what universe it's supposed to be, but the one that's black and white
like
with the big print.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit anything. I don't think I would not want to be in that room. I'd rather sleep on the cheese bed or the hot dog, I think.
I honestly think I might like the have-not room. It's one of my favorite in the house, just because it's at least that makes sense, because it's have-not room.
I want a big hot dog like that for my living room.
Oh my God. It would really fit well.
I think so.
Yeah, it would look great.
Okay. So another big twist this season is my girl, Survivor legend Cirie Fields is playing Big Brother, which is amazing. I was so excited to see her pop up on screen. When I initially read the cast and I saw her son was going to be on, I was like, oh my God, he's probably so good because he's had to, watch his mom for years. She's so strategic. She's so good with people. But then when I found out she was also playing, I'm like, I love this. We get to watch the master at work in a slightly different setting, but a similar game that she's played before.
So yeah, Cirie is a legend in reality show land, and we can talk about it a little bit more later, but it does feel like this apple fell very far from the tree.
100%.
She's so strategic. Every word she speaks is intentional. The relationships that she makes are intentional, and just every interaction she has is for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's been a great addition to the cast. She's a lot of fun to watch, but as you know, I wasn't a huge fan of the twist itself because I feel like it either presented a fair or unfair advantage for them and the rest of the house. And so what I mean by that is it only applies to just them. They have this dynamic that nobody else in the house was given an opportunity to have. And so I would have preferred to see, if this twist was going to exist, to have it be across the board where they're all pairs of some sort, whether it be parent and child, best friends, in a relationship of some sort, but it's just them and then the rest of the house. And to me, that just felt very either lucky or unlucky, depending on how you want to look at it.
Here's what I'll say. I get where you're coming from. I think they have this secret that nobody else had the opportunity of having. However, I think Cirie is in a situation where her reputation precedes her. So, like, people have had the chance to watch her strategically for years. For, however, 3 or 4 seasons of Survivor. She was on that show Traitors. So I was familiar with her strategy and the way that she is so good with people watching the show. So if anyone's familiar with her, they would kind of know her tricks. Also, I think Jared, her son, is proving to be more of a liability. I mean, it has helped them a few times. Obviously, they're sharing information, but he's definitely not as strategic of a player as her.
Right.
He seems to actually be playing really, like, with a lot of emotion. So it's worked out in a weird way where she's, like, cleaning up his messes.
As she likes to point out.
Yes.
Often.
Yes. Which, you know, someone's got to whip him into shape.
Oh, yeah. Well, who better than mom?
But I love watching her play. I think it's so interesting. I think she might be in trouble, given that Izzy just went home, her number one ally, aside from Jared. I think people are finally starting to see, oh, she is never worried. She's always in control. She knows where the vote is going ahead of time. We need to look out for Cirie.
Yeah. Most recently, Jared had an opportunity to actually protect his mom when it came to this most recent veto, which we'll get into and we'll catch up. But it's been an interesting dynamic between the two of them. Both have had an opportunity to step up and help each other. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know where I stand. Now they know where I stand on this twist. Regardless of how I feel, though, it's been wildly entertaining.
Another big twist that Cirie got to participate in, but that power of invincibility competition.
Right.
So it was America voted, not America the player, America.
Us.
As an audience, voted on their favorite players in the top 4. Was 4 people? 3 people?
Yes, I believe it was 4.
Got to play. It was Corey, Jag, Cirie, and Matt for this, like, secret power.
A big power.
A huge power. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that played out?
Yeah, so Matt ends up winning this power of invincibility, and I believe for the next 2 weeks, he has the ability to basically nullify an eviction and keep everybody in the house regardless of who was evicted. And Jag ended up getting evicted unanimously that week. However, even us at home, as we watched it, weren't sure if Matt used this power up until the point that he had his bags and was ready to go meet Julie Chen at the door. And that's when she dropped this bombshell that Matt did indeed use this power, which he said he would in a prior conversation with Jag, keep him in the house. But for us watching at home, I don't think that we were aware of if he used it or not. And so Jag ended up staying after a unanimous eviction, and that was, in my opinion, the first jaw-dropping moment of the show, and I love a good jaw-dropping moment, and that certainly was one.
It was crazy. I was screaming at the TV. I thought, I don't know, after Matt voted, I was like, oh, I guess he didn't use it, because maybe he had to like say it during his like vote. And so I really thought that he was strategizing with Cirie. I thought he was going to save it for the next week in case He was up for eviction. Cirie was up for eviction. I thought he didn't use it. And then when it came down that Jag was staying, I was like, this is amazing. And also Cameron's entire HOH was just like, nullified. The pressure cooker HOH, the hardest competition I feel like of all time.
That might have been a mistake on BB's part, because why bring back such an iconic competition that lasted 14 hours almost and then have it basically be for nothing? That maybe could have been organized a little bit better. It was a very entertaining week. But yeah, it basically made that iconic competition worth nothing, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I selectively watch the live feeds / read up on what other people are saying about the live feeds, because I don't like to be spoiled ahead of the episode. I don't like to find out who wins HOH ahead of time. I like to watch it. I think it's more entertaining that way. However, I did watch the pressure cooker on the live feeds.
Oh, you did?
Because I just felt like it was iconic, a historic moment coming back, and I was like, I gotta watch it.
Okay.
So that was the only thing. I didn't watch it through the night, but
That's a commitment.
Watched it a little before I went to bed, and then when I woke up, I just checked in to see who was there, and I just ended up keeping it at my desk all morning as they dropped off one by one.
I did not know that.
But that was really fascinating to watch. I think I would be horrible at that one.
I could not imagine. That sounds like torture.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I think I would maybe cut my losses early, and I wouldn't just really obviously get out, but I'd be like, oops, my knee touched the ground, because I really, in my mind, I know I will not be standing there 14 hours later. I don't have what it takes to make it to the end. So what's the point of standing there for 8 hours if you're going to drop anyway?
Yeah,
if I could stand there for 30 minutes.
I like my sleep too. So
yeah. But that was fun to watch.
That was it was great to bring that competition back, especially for the 25th season.
So let's talk a little bit about who has gone home so far. We had Kirsten go home week 1. Sadly, we didn't really get to know her very well.
Hardly knew ya. Well, and something that we've talked a lot about too is at the beginning of any season, there's nothing really to go off of when you're making that first or even second eviction. Mm-hmm. So every move has to be carefully choreographed, and I think that it is a fair criticism that she may have been trying to do too much. Whether or not she actually deserved to go out is up for debate. But again, there's just nothing to go off of in those early stages. So you just got to be really, really careful in those first few days. And ultimately, she was the first one out, and that's never a good title to have.
A bummer.
A big bummer.
But next, we had Riley, who was making a lot of waves at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
She, I think, was largely responsible for the division that happened really quickly in the house. She got really close to the people in her room. Her, Blue, Matt, Jag, Jared was part of that a little bit.
Yeah.
Cameron actually was part of it. And then
so long ago.
The other side, kind of in response, was I guess we'll band together. So that's when it was Cirie, Felicia, Izzy, Mimi, Hisam, my king, Hisam.
Hisam.
And then the only reason I didn't like that, I don't like when there's an even split down the house.
Yeah.
It also weirdly ended up working out. It was the olds versus the youngs in the house. The older players on one side, the younger players on one side. Didn't like that. I'm glad that quickly disbanded.
Right. It didn't last very long, but it certainly set the tone of what was to come, because ever since then, for at least a short while, it seemed very organized. You had two sides of the house, and ever since, it's been rather chaotic. Mm-hmm. People are just left in no man's land, going from here to there. There's been a lot of flip-flopping, but for at least a short while, those two power alliances existed, and then they crumbled as fast as they got put together, and ultimately Riley was sent home because of it.
And quickly after Riley went home was Hisam, who could have been a great player. He was wildly entertaining. He did, however, do a crazy thing when he was HOH to try to target Riley. Everyone was cool targeting Riley. He didn't have to work that hard. Nope. But he did a weird thing where he gave a whole speech about why she needed to get out, and it started getting weirdly personal. So I think that raised a lot of red flags about Hisam, which ultimately led to his eviction.
I think that he's a player that you could safely say, given the benefit of hindsight, he would go in and play that game completely differently. He let power get to his head. He felt like he was pulling strings. He felt like he was in charge, which he was as HOH, but certainly not of the entire house, especially that early in the game. And I just think that the way he spoke to people and strategized really rubbed people the wrong way. And I don't think that's really how he is. He just let the game get to him. And I think if he was given a do-over, he probably would be a lot more mellow.
Yeah, and he talked about it with Julie when he was evicted, that he's a very direct person. So I think it kind of was like scary when, you know, you sit down to chat with him, and usually people beat around the bush. They're like, what are you thinking? Who do you think you're putting up? And he was like, okay, I heard you're targeting me. Who said my name? Who came up with that idea first? And you're like, like you feel backed into a corner immediately.
He basically was to Riley like, I'm putting you on the block.
It was really fun to watch. I kind of wish he was still there just because I would have loved to see more chaos caused by him.
I mean, it was certainly entertaining, which then led to Red as the next evictee, who is someone that was really starting to grow on me towards the end. You saw a really sensitive side to him, and you know, you could debate whether he was unfairly treated, the whole Cameron drama that unfolded with his bromance there, but ultimately I also didn't see him going very far in this game, and he kind of left when I would have expected him to.
I agree. The only person he really bonded with was Cameron, and here's my take on that whole, the Chillers.
The Chillers.
The rise and fall of the Chillers Alliance.
The Chillbillies.
Oh, the Chillbillies. Right.
Yes.
The Cameron did throw Red under the bus to Jared.
Yes.
It wasn't, super extreme, but he basically said like, oh, well, if Red has to go home, he's got to go home, And I was like, oh, that was really quick for your number one ally in the house. And then Jared relayed that information to Red. He made it sound like a little more, vindictive than it really was. But
I agree.
He did start it. Jared wasn't lying. He was, exaggerating. But that led to their little breakup. And then Red going home. No one was fighting for him.
No, it really was a breakup, too. It had the essence of a breakup. And that scenario between Jared and Cameron and Red is still having ripple effects into what has unfolded in this most previous week, which is when we said goodbye to Izzy.
My girl, Izzy. I loved her. I thought she was an amazing casting choice. She's so dramatic. She's never just like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that person. She's like, I hate that guy. So passionate about everything. She was really funny. I thought she was so sweet. I really wanted her to go far. I was so sad to watch her go. But as much as I hated watching her go, I like how things are shaken up a little. Cameron was like, I'm not just going to put the same two people up on the block. I'm going to target the people who are in charge. As he put it, Cirie's the president. Felicia
is the vice president.
Yes, and Izzy is the Secretary of State. So he started, chopping off Cirie's right-hand men to ultimately get to her. But I think it's going to be hard for Cirie and Felicia after Izzy went home. They just have fewer people on their side.
Whether you love him or whether you hate him, Cameron is putting together a pretty iconic resume so far in the Big Brother house. He's survived the block multiple times. He's won 2 HOHs. He's won veto competitions. I mean, the way that he's been able to A, survive and then B, make moves, I mean, that's what a winning resume at the end looks like. However, his biggest downfall is his social game. I think that he may have stirred up enough chaos by sending Izzy home, breaking up the power alliance of that big three that you just mentioned. And ultimately, there's just been feuds within every single corner of that house now where he's kind of just sitting back and watching it all unfold.
Yeah, I do think he's going to need to work a little bit harder to get people on his side in an actual alliance. There's been 15 different fake or real 7-person alliances. I can't really keep track, but they need to find people who they actually trust and are actually going to work with. I think we kind of started to see the beginnings of that with Corey and America, mostly Corey rallying the troops to get Izzy out. And I think maybe that will form into like a full-fledged alliance going forward.
It's interesting because, again, ever since that first couple of weeks where you had the 2 power alliances, other than the big 3 of Felicia, Izzy, and Cirie, there hasn't been like one consistent alliance, and it's kind of been messy otherwise. You mentioned it. There's been several alliances that you can't even keep track of. So yes, the way that the cards are falling now, it does present opportunities for at least one power alliance to form. Corey took charge this week, and we'll see how that goes and where Cirie, Felicia, and Cameron all end up within that. And then Bowie, again, is a wild card. We've talked about Mimi being a wild card before. We don't really know where she stands. So it'll just be interesting to see how everybody splits off to this point.
Yeah, so after Izzy's eviction, we went to the Wall HOH competition, which was for some reason Josh Martinez-themed, which I love Josh. I loved him on the show. I love him on the challenge now.
Oh, Josh Martinez. He was certainly a memorable character that made it really hard for me to tune in each week. His goal was to annoy Houseguests when he was in the house, and in turn he annoyed me. So mission accomplished, Josh. He won. You got to hit it to him. But yeah, he's back and bigger than ever.
Bigger than ever. That's so true, literally. But whoever wins this competition, I think will kind of set the tone going forward. If it's, Cirie, Felicia, Jared, I think the power will stay kind of the same, or we'll see a lot of what we've seen before. But if anybody else wins, fair game. Like I don't even know who they'd be going after.
And that's what's making this season so incredible. It's the unpredictability of it. Right now, it is hard to say. And we don't know at this point in time. The HOH has been crowned. Neither one of us know who it is. And by the time you're watching this, you may know who it is. But it's interesting. Whoever takes power this week has the opportunity to forge this season forward in a way that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I love that this house flips like no other group of house guests I've ever seen before. But before we wrap things up, I do want to know who your prediction is for the winner.
So at the very beginning of the season, just based on first impressions, I was a big fan of Bowie Jane. I thought she had the personality, the athletic ability, the likability to go far in this game. She hasn't really impressed me much or done much up until this point. So if I had to sit here today and bank on a winner, I think I would have to say, and it's really hard, I think I would have to say, I'm going to be controversial, and I can change it later because that's what you can do. I'm going to say Cameron.
Okay.
I think that he's got an uphill fight, but the resume he's putting together shows that he could potentially win this game.
All right. I respect. That's a good answer. I think, he's won the most things so far. He always wins when he needs to.
Yeah.
So I love Cirie. I want her to win. However, I don't think she's going to. I think people know too much about her. They know she's powerful. They're going to work to get her out soon. I think if Mimi starts stepping up and making moves, she has a really good chance of winning. She is always in the room when important conversations are happening. She's super smart. She's just got to start, making her mark, building her resume. And I think she could do it.
Hey, she's positioned herself well, and that's not a bad choice. I like it. I like it.
All right. Well, either way, this week will be an interesting one. We'll be back soon to discuss it all. After this, we'll be able to kind of get into the nitty-gritty of each week.
Yes.
And the dynamics of the house. And we'll be back to talk about it all.
We can't wait. I hope you guys tune in.
Bye.